Hey guys, we're back, Migrator Charters. I'm Captain Caleb. We're going to talk about some lake trout tactics. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of them, but they're actually a great fish to fish for. There's a lot of them many days. There are days they don't bite real well, but a lot of days they can take up that time between salmon bites. They're great for smoking. They get really big. The Illinois state record was just broken the other day, so there are some monsters looking down there. We're just going to go over a few of our basic baits here. Old school, chrome lure Jensen, smoke lure Jensen. I know they don't make these sizes anymore. They're hard to find, but you can go over to Lake Michigan Angler and buy their gold stars, and they work just as well. What I like to run behind these guys is, I'm really a big fan of just really 2 spinning glows. Many will work. I just kind of stick it really simple. I like the clown spinning glow. You can get white rings, you can get gold rings, wings, you can get silver wings. There's a lot of different color wings you can get. One big thing I'm also a fan of for lake trout fishing, that even over kings, coho, steelhead, is I actually use a higher quality hook for them. Just because lake trout bite so light, a lot of times they'll get one prong in their mouth and they'll come up to the surface, they'll start thrashing, and they're gone. They throw the hook and they're gone. So I use a 1/0 owner hook. They're super, super sharp, and my hookup ratio is definitely increased. As for tails, I really like the yellow tails for shallower water, you know, inside 150 for the trout. They seem to really, really like that. Behind the Dodgers, I run about a 24-inch leader from the top of the loop to the back of the hook. Once I get outside of 140, 150, I usually switch off my Dodgers. That's not always the case. Sometimes I like running them out deep too. Sometimes those trout are really skittish, but then I'll start running big paddles. My 2 favorites are the Blinky, which is Pro Troll, and the little light inside blinks. If you don't want to spend the big money on the Blinky, you can just get a regular Chrome Prism Pro Troll, the 11-inch. And then what I really like running behind them, the Little Boy Blue Tail with the glow wings as well. I think it really pops down there. Little Boy Blue really gets that UV light down deep, and they see that really well. Behind that, this one's for a Dodger, but what I run behind the paddle is about a 33 to 35-inch leader. If Blinky is not working, I'm a really big fan or just a white crush paddle. Dreamweaver, Hotspot, you can use the big fish and chips one. They all work very, very well down there. It's a really big flash down there, especially in deep water. Fish on, guys, right here. Let me get this rod out of the way. Talking about lake trout, but we have a coho on here. Yep, there you go. Nice chunky coho.
Fish, fish, fish.
Yep, guys, fish on right here, guys. I have some gone. He gone.
Fish.
Right there.
Fish one.
Down right here. Yep. Hey Rob, you want to take this and put it to the other side of the boat? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's fine. No, he's there. He's swimming at you. Nice fish. A little bit of blood on it. So we got interrupted there, guys, for a second. We had a couple cohos go. Back to lake trout, though. So if you're salmon fishing and you're trolling kind of fast, a lot of times your Dodgers will not work because you're trolling too fast. You definitely want to use a paddle then. The paddles are a lot more speed tolerant. When we run a paddle, I like to run the paddles about 20 to 30 feet behind the ball. There are days the trout are really skittish, they won't hit it there. I'll run it 40, 50 feet behind the ball. That's just something you have to figure out for yourself, is how these fish are biting. Dodgers, I tend to run a lot tighter to the ball. Dodgers, 15 foot off the ball is a far distance for me to run it. They get a lot better action closer to the ball. I will also run Dodgers a lot more in the dirt, like actually scraping the bottom, than I will a paddle. When I set my paddle rod, or my deep rigger, my Lake Trout rod, I'll send it down with a paddle, and I'll usually smack the bottom once and bring it up 5 feet. I am, however, using a Magnum Metals downrigger with a 25-pound weight on it. So if I'm fishing 200 feet of water and I drop the rigger 200 feet, I'll smack the bottom, and if I drop another 10 feet 5 minutes later, I'm scraping bottom in 200 with 210 feet of cable out. You guys may need to let out, if you're not using a big heavy weight like that, a 12 or a 15, you're gonna have to let out extra cable to actually be scraping the bottom. Don't think when you set it the first time and you hit bottom once, that is on the bottom. That'll have blowback and will come up 10, 15, even 20 feet if you're using a lighter weight. That's okay if you're using a lighter weight, but you just have to compensate for that extra depth you're gonna have to get down with the lighter weight. Another huge thing with trout fishing that we kind of started doing a couple years ago is I run braid on that rigger. This rod right now is down 155, and I want every bit of stretch out of that rod as I can. You know, when you start fishing that 150 plus, that's a lot of monofilament down in the water, and it's got a big bow to it. No matter how tight you keep your drag when you're setting the rod, you're gonna get stretch in there, and you're gonna miss bites, because if a small trout bites it, that mono's got a lot of stretch in it, and you might miss those bites. That braid, you can get a 2-pound trout on, and it's thumping the rod. All we do is we do not put the braid in the Scotty release, because it will actually cut through it eventually. We just run about a 50 to 75 foot, 25-pound mono leader just to hook, send it out and hook it into our clips. Last thing about it, I use the really sharp hooks. I use a really good reel for that rod too. Not because Lake Trout pull a lot of drag, but number one, you will catch kings down there. I catch kings on Dodgers and the paddles all year. It's not like an everyday thing, but every few trips that rod will thump and you'll know this isn't a trout, and you better get ready to loosen your drag, because you'll get in a bad habit of tightening your drag down on that reel, thinking that you're just only catching trout. It will catch kings. Also, that up and down motion on that reel, every day up and down, is a lot of wear on that drag. And there's a lot of good reels in the market. We're using a Penn Fathom here. It's a good quality reel. It lasts a long time. Shimano Takotas, Okuma convectors or cold waters will work too, but just because if you're sitting there with the drag up and down, that's a lot of wear in the drag going down that deep. You'll get a lot of heat inside the drag. So good quality reel, good hook, and braid on that reel will all be 3 things that really, really help you hook up with more lake trout. Hey guys, we just hooked up for the first time this trip on our lake trout rigger. I was running about 140, 150 foot down, suspended about 20 feet off the bottom. I just dropped it, smacked the bottom once with it, brought it up 5 feet, and I don't think it was more than 15 seconds later and we hooked up on a trout on it. Ththese fish just probably want it way down deep today. Here's another trout, guys, or something on here.
I know.
This may not be a trout. I don't know what this is. There you go. So we're doubled up on our deep rods right now, guys. Right now, it's the RV Magnum Shelly Schnack down 95 on a 3-color SWR, and then our big paddle down on the bottom. So this trout was probably down about 110, 115 foot, and this one was right on the bottom. So 2 rods down there, and seems like we found some active ones. You might not have. Oh yeah, small king or something. I lied, guys. 1 lake trout on. Oh. Yep, right there. So what we were talking about earlier, guys, that's a big white paddle, flash spin and glow, and a little boy blue tail. Nice king. So guys, we just took this probably a 2-year-old king here, Magnum RV Shelly Snack. We just talked about it. It's a great spoon for that mid-level in the deep water. This guy was down 90 feet on an SWR. I saw some marks down there. I was fishing at about 70. Come back here, dropped it another 20 feet. Took a few minutes, but we finally hooked up on it. We're gonna get this back down. Great option for some middle of the water fishing though, guys.